Hello, my fellow bookish people. Hello, my fellow author people out there. This is my check-in for October the 20th for Preptober, where we are prepping us writers out there for Nanowrimo, which is National Novel Writing Month, where in the month of November we're going to write 50,000 words in towards that project of an actual novel. I'm writing a novel, Underdeep, which has gone, it's sort of, I think in contemporary fantasy, I think I'm definitely kind of drifting into new weird territory, which is so old it's probably just weird territory think a much less talented Jeff Vandermeer or China Mieville, or maybe Philip K. Dick without the drugs, which, what would that be? What have I been doing in my preparation? Last week I talked about having an outline and having an ending I didn't like. I've come up with, provisionally, I guess, an ending that I like better. I went through my outline, I made a whole bunch of notes, and it's like actually making those notes was a real thing in itself. It's like I actually sat down and I went through my outline, which I hate kind of usually going through my writing, but it's like, okay, gonna do this, and it didn't suck. I went through it. I had plenty of kind of questions or notes or queries to myself. I kind of entered that in, and I have started doing kind of outline number 2 with this kind of this different, more less cartoony ending in mind. In this book about a young kid in kind of a town that's being cut off, and the lake is black and the sky is wrong, and this kid is going off to find his father. So I've come up with hopefully a better ending in there. It's funny, the more I do the outline, the more questions and the more research and the more details come up, and it's great because I guess I'm going to be able to layer it. It's funny, as someone who's been a pantser in the past, I haven't had to particularly keep track of anything. So I haven't had to be organized. It's just been all one big data dump. Now I find I've got various different pages, and there's these things they call character sheets, which at the moment just has like Alec, the name of my main character, on the top of it, which I guess I'm going to have to actually try and fill out and deposit all the information there in some sort of organized way. I think this is where something they call Scrivener comes into the picture. I don't know. I don't think Scrivener works really well on cell phones, and I showed you last week that that's basically where I do all my writing, is on my cell phone. So I may just kind of keep with my primitive pieces of paper. Me finding now that's like, oh man, I only have a week left, and I have all these different little things I want to pull together before then. So breathe. Though it's interesting, I'm doing my second attempt at the outline, and I'm finding I'm doing much more detail this time, to the point where I'm wondering if I should sort of ban myself from, because I find myself slipping into little snippets of dialogue in there, and it's like, maybe I should try and kind of dial back a little bit, or else I'm going to have an outline that's going to be 50,000 words, which feels like cheating. I don't want to have to, each day I come to do writing, have to read 4, 5, 6 detailed pages of stuff. I don't think I want to be that, suddenly go from being a la, I'm a thief on the wind kind of guy, pantser, to a super detailed guy. I think I'm going to try and find the middle path in there and relax. Other things this week, Voxer has happened. Matt Wall has set up the Voxer group with Steve Donoghue and many others. Steve is the one who promised it, and Matt is the one who actually executed. So thumbs up to Matt Wall, and you should definitely go over to his site, Paperback Junkie, if you're interested in that, because he is the one who holds the reins of power on that. Yeah, I guess that's where I am. That's where I am this week. Kind of my goals for the upcoming week is that I'm going to try and, kind of dial back on the detail and make a general outline by Wednesday, have that outline set out, and then before next Sunday, the 27th, have kind of run that outline through a couple of the plot structure things. There's save the cat, or other kinds of things, 3-act structure, 5-act structure, that kind of those kind of filters. I'm going to use them as filters. I don't think I could actually write with that in my mind, but I have put something out, and now I'm going to say, oh, well, how does this fit this structure? How could what things am I missing? Is that a good thing? Is that oh, I missed something there, and I can add yet again to my my outline. So that's a thought on that. I've got a couple of various little kind of research things of kind of survivalism, kind of basic skills, kind of that kind of thing, because it's definitely a hard Scrabble world, and luckily I'm just looking at it from the point of view of a young guy in it. I'm setting it in kind of the 80s, so kind of getting my back. I'm going to try and kind of do a little bit of like, okay, let's get back into kind of the 80s vibe there. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I'll have to talk to myself and think about why I picked the 80s. I mean, I guess there's the writer's cheat of it being it being a time when there was no cell phones and no internet that was of significance, that would be in a small town in the interior of BC. Might also just be a thing of I'm writing, this is basically, I grew up in the 80s in a small town, well, medium town in British Columbia, so there could be that too. I'm not going to go too heavy into that. So that's where I'm at. I feel like it is one of those things though, the closer I look, the more detail I realize, oh my God, I'm going to need for NaNoWriMo. It's like, take a breath. But there's still lots to do, and I'm enjoying it. I'm definitely feeling the creative juices going. I'm keeping on my thing of kind of the schedule of try and get up every day and have a time when I get to do it. If I don't get to it then it is a bit more of a grind to do it later on in the day. So definitely, hopefully picking up that habit, because that will be that's the life-saving habit that I find for NaNoWriMo, is get up and just do it for that time every day. And once you can get that big hunk done, then it's easy to add little more hunks on during the day to get top myself up over into the 1,667 words, which I will need to stay on track to get to 50,000 words by the end of the month. And I would like to say at the end of this, it's interesting, a lot of times in the past when I've done NaNoWriMo, and I've done it many times, it was just sort of it was a goal in itself just to get that 50,000 words. But strangely enough, having this preparation beforehand, I am looking at the month of November as, yes, this is going to be the super intense writing time for 50,000 words. But I can almost envision myself actually, making sure I write to the end and complete the entire outline in full as a actual novel, which I suspect will probably take me past November. But also just the thing of, okay, and then I actually did some rewriting. I'm proud of myself. I did rewriting of an outline. It's like, okay, I'll get to the end and I'll have a first rough, horrible, malformed creature-like first draft, and I'll be able to edit and hopefully shape that up into something that's semi-respectable that someday I might want to show someone. Ooh, yeah, who knows? So yes, that's my check-in for this week. See you next Sunday, AuthorTube, and more videos later, everyone else.